Tamara here from Posh Cat Crafts. Thank you for joining me. In today's video I'm going to be doing a waterfall card. Sorry, not waterfall card, what am I talking about? I'm going to do a waterfall feature in our box album. So I have been asked by somebody to do this because we want to do an alternative one using the memory book dies in the number 2 collection. Now I spent most of the day working on it yesterday, and I got to this stage here, which is lovely, but when I come to put it on my card I couldn't open it fully because this has got extra width. So today I thought what we'll do is we're going to have a try with putting them this way. So instead of going landscape, we'll go portrait and see if that alleviates that problem. So what we need to do, we are going to cut, I'm going to cut out one of the wonderful dies. So it's the bouquets and banners wonderful die set. Okay, so we're just going to use the mechanism in our book. So we're going to cut out one to begin with and then see how we go from there. Okay, so now we've got our die cut. What I'm going to do, just for the purpose of this video, you don't need to do this, it's just so that you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to put a black line down the score lines that are already on the card. So these score lines that I'm putting in here, I'm not actually putting them in, I'm just following the pre-scored lines that come with the die. Okay, just so that you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to move you in a little bit closer so that you can just see what I'm going to do. I think that is about as close as I was going to get. Okay, so these lines here are the lines that are already pre-scored on your die. So I'm just going to swap colours. Have I got a, see if we can use this white, white shows up. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up these score lines here that are already there, and then I'm going to score in between. Now each of these panels here is 1/2 inch. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to just line up this score line here with my number 3. Okay, so that's 3 inches. Now I'm just going to very lightly score down that line so that the paper moves into position. Okay, now what I'm then going to do is I'm going to score. I'll score it first and then I'll draw with a pencil and a pen in a minute. So I'm going to score in between that. So I'm going to score at 3/4, sorry, not 3/4, at 1/4. So it'd be 3 inches and 1/4, so 3 1/4 inches, like so. So if I just put my pen, you can see. Okay, so that is then another score line. I'm just going to get a different score tool because it doesn't, this one's not very good. So again I'm going to line up, well this is actually lined up, so my pre-scored one is already lined up with the 3 1/2 inches. So I'm going to go in between 3 1/2 inches and 4 and score at 3 3/4. Score down, make sure that's nice and scored. So that there is another score line. Okay, and then I'm going to do the rest of the same with the other 2. So that's at 4, so I'm going to score at 4 1/4, and then at 4 3/4. Okay, so I'll just mark this so that you can see. Right, okay, so that's then our score lines done. Right, I'm just going to bring you out so you can see the full picture. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to then fold our score line. So if we fold the first one, so that was the pre-scored line, and then score the one that we've just made, like that. And then the next one, like so. And then that's the pre-scored, and that. I'm hoping this will not, this will work and we won't need to start cutting and putting them. So there we go, that's brilliant. Right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to cut out our pages that are going to go onto our waterfall. Now I'm going to try it with these ones and see if it works. If it doesn't, we'll have to either use memory book 1 die, or we could then just cut them to what size we want, or we could just use the ones that come within the wonderful die set. So we have made, so we should have room for 1 2 3 4 5 7 8. We should have room for 8 of our waterfall pages. Our next job is cutting out our waterfall pages that are going to stick onto our waterfall mechanism. Now what I will do as well is I will work on this one, but when I come to stick them all together, I will have done another one that is just plain. I'm just using this one, what I've drawn on, for demo purposes, so that you can see on the video what where the actual score lines are, because I couldn't see, so I thought this was the easiest way to help you visualize what I was doing. So we're going to need 8 of our smaller page die from the Memory Book 2 collection, and then we're going to need also so we're going to need 8 of those in that size. Then we're going to need 8 in the layer die, so the layer die that goes with that page die, we're going to be like that. So this layer die here, we need 8 in your cream cardstock and 8 in your patterned paper. Now if you're using a Gemini, you need to take out the magnetic shim. Because I think the magnetic shim is a little bit springy, that's when you end up with your pages warping and stretching, and then they're no good, you can't use them. So I would take that one out and just use the metal shim. Okay, it will get battered and scored and marked, but that's just the way it is. It still works, it's perfectly fine. So I would try that. If you've got a tangerine or another hand cranking die cutting machine, that's fine. I just like my Gemini, especially if I'm doing loads, because I can just whack them through. But as I say, there are other electronic die cutting machines on the market, so I'm not saying go out and buy one of those. I'm just saying that's my personal preference, what I use. Okay, I'm going to speed the video up while I cut out our pieces here, and I'll see you in a minute. so we've cut out all our bits that we need. We just now need to then take off the edge of the page die that we don't need. So I'm going to cut 2 at once. So I'm going to, as I always say, just cut down to about 1/8 of an inch past the stitched line, the embossed stitch line, and cut. Okay, so they're all cut. But what you also need to die cut, which I have forgotten to mention, is the holding mechanism for the waterfall card. So you'll need to cut out this as well. Right, I've now done that on mine. Oh, I forgot to fold one. Okay, so these are the 2 I've got. So this one's going in my album, and then this is one for I'm going to just work on to show you on the video. I'm not going to stick these down. What you'll need to do is you'll need to put your back on. So that's what the cream card is for. That goes on the back like that. So we need to put that on first before we stick it down. So we're just going to quickly glue those on. If you want to check out my other videos that I have uploaded onto my channel, you can just go to my channel page, and I've got different playlists there with the different series of albums that I've done. So far I've got this series, which is the alternative box album using the Tonic Studio dies. And the other one is just on the normal way of how you use the dies. So if you want to check that out, I've used Graphic 45 papers on that one, and I've also got a giveaway. So the album that I made in that video, I'm giving away to one lucky winner. If you'd like to head over to my Facebook page and enter, then by all means do. The only stipulation I ask is that you like and you share like crazy that post, and it would be really nice if you could become a subscriber of my channel here on YouTube. As it stands at the minute, I've got 397 followers, and I only need 3 more people to get to 400, so that would be brilliant if I could get to 400. I'd like to also thank all my subscribers that have subscribed so far. I thank you. Right, now what we're going to do is we're going to stick our pages on. Now we're going to stick them this way. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick our tape onto the back of this. Now I'm just having a look to see which one was going to fit, which I think will be this one. Yeah. Now this one here, no, it's actually a 1/4 inch width. So you'll need to get some of this tape here, this 1/4 inch tape. Okay, this one is score tape, and it's really good. It's the one I use, but as I say, this is a 1/4 inch. You could use wet glue if you wanted to. You don't need to use tape at all. I just like the now stickability of the tape. So we're just going to stick them as close to the top as we can. Put them off. just going to burnish these down so that I know that it's stuck. It's because it's on 2 levels. Again. So now we can start to assemble. No, yes we will. We will assemble it because that is going to go over there, so I'm going to have a chance to do it. Right, okay. Right, I've finished my mechanism now, so that's all ready to go. But before we do that, I need to cut out, and you will need to cut out, one of the layer dies that fit your album. So this one is the 3rd one down, I think it fits the 2nd largest album page. So I need to cut this out of craft card and also out of pattern paper. Okay, right, you can go ahead now and stick these together. Now the reason we've done this is we need something to anchor our waterfall waterfall mechanism to, and because we've already done our page and it's already up and running, we can't really punch holes and then do it through the back. So this is the sort of only way that I've found how to do it. Okay, so I'm going to stick these together like so. Right, we're going to stick, well not stick, we're going to secure our mechanism down to our page. So I'm just going to push it through and then I'll explain what I've done, just in case you're a bit unfamiliar. Right, this piece of piece that we cut out, this is it's like it secures your waterfall mechanism in place. So we can stick it on, but I'm going to use brad. So what I'm doing now, I'm just gauging to see how far I'll need to go up. So I'll need to go up to virtually the top of the page to allow for the memory book page to sort of fit. You may have, yeah, that would be fine, that would be perfect. So it literally needs to go right to the top. So if you've got an embossing mat, then I would get that out and put your page onto the mat, because we're going to have to punch some holes. So line it up, make sure that it's central, and the same with your holding mechanism. Okay, this will end up over the sides, but we have got a little bit of leeway to work with when we stick it into the book. Okay, so line it up so that it's at least central, and then I'm going to poke my holes as near to the edge as I can, although it doesn't really matter on this one. So, and just sort of go by eye to see where the middle is. Okay, push down. Then you need some brads, and then we can secure it in place. Okay, it's just this one, then the other. Okay, then what I do just to to make the brads flat, I've just used my little mini hammer, and I just hammer the legs down so that they're flat. This just helps it sit nice and neatly. So I'm going to pull that down. That's working. Okay, so now we can start to assemble. So you need to take obviously your double-sided tape off, and we work from the bottom upwards. So I'm just going to sort of gauge where I think the middle will be. If you want to be a bit more precise, you can do, and you can measure it. Yeah. And then the rest should be quite easy because you can go really on what you've just put down. Okay, so that is then the last one put on. So let's pull it and see if it works, and that's perfect. Okay, and then the last one may be the one that just has to stay on the ground, but that doesn't matter, that's fine, that works out just as well. Okay, and push it back up, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a nice long pull cord on that. Look at that, that's beautiful. Nice bit of ribbon. We'll use that. Okay. So in there, like so. And then I'm just going to push that up. Like that. And then I can cut this off. And then we've got our pull cord. Okay, like that. Ooh. Okay, will take a bit of time to get used to. The craft card that I've actually got here that I'm using isn't the best, so it is it's sort of not creased properly, but this is the only way I could think of to get a few more waterfall pages onto our mechanism without actually going and making a whole new waterfall you know, pulley thing. So, but it does the job, so you can then use it like that. I think personally I would maybe go with the Memory Book 1 dies on this, or stay with the I think they're like an oval shape that come with this the bouquet and banners die set. So but that's going to work for me. I quite like that actually. That's quite nice. I like it that this one stays on the, it doesn't flip over. So now what we're going to do is I need to find out where I've put, I had some already cut, so I could stick these on. You could also put one on here if you wanted to. You could cut something out to put on there and also on this bit. So what you could do is just take your die and trace around. I bet you can't find a pencil. There we go. So I would trace around, trace around with your pencil. Like so. Okay, can you see that? Just very faintly. And then very carefully cut it out. Now I don't know if anybody else in the UK is being plagued by these tiny little black flies. They're like a long, thin, really tiny flies, and they get into everything. I actually think they are worse than the heat, because I can't open my windows, because as soon as I open my window I end up with millions of them on my arms and in my hair, and because then it makes you to start itching and scratching. It's just awful. So I've had about 3 or 4 showers today to get rid of them. They're just swarming like mad here. I've just got some washing in that I'd hung out on the line, and they're all in my clothes, so I've had to wash my clothes again. So I think I won't be sad to see the end of summer when they have gone. Right, so that is then our cutout that we've cut out, you know, that can hide that. So we can go ahead then and stick that down. Okay, push that up. And then that is then our waterfall feature done. So now we just need to stick it onto our page. So it's going to go on this page here. Get my double-sided tape. I'm just going to put a bit of double-sided tape just so that it grabs instantly, and then I'm going to put the rest is going to be glue. So I'm going to put some across the middle where I've put the brads, like that, and then glue the rest. Oh, I forgot to take it off. Okay, so that's on nice and securely. There we go. And then we can pull this down, and then that's our waterfall. You can pull that right down, and then you can get them all there, but then you just need to push up and help it along at the other end. Okay, so let me just stick this back into our album, and then you can see what it looks like inside. So I'm just going to put a bit more double-sided tape on. Just cut that off. I'm also going to use wet glue on this so that it really does stick, like that. Okay, a bit of glue on there, a bit of glue on there, and then some on the back. Okay, so that is hopefully nice and secure and stuck down. Let's move it this way so we can see. There we go, that looks. There we go, just stick down. Okay, so then that then is our waterfall using our memory book dies, and we've managed to add a few more little waterfall type things. Oh, I must have put a bit of glue there. Oh, that's a shame. Oh, never mind. Right, so that then is our waterfall. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. It has taken me a while to do this one. I was asked to do it, so that's how I have come up with it. There could be an easier way. If there is, I'd love to know and have a go. So if you've liked what you've seen, then please give me a like or a comment. A comment is lovely, and subscribe. I love to have more subscribers. As I said earlier, I am 3 away from 400, so maybe you'll be my 400th subscriber, and that would be wonderful. So thank you guys for subscribing to me. I am on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and I have a blog, so the links to those will be down in the description, so you can just head there and click on them and it will take you to your chosen social media. The supply list for this is all it is the Memory Book 2 dies from Tonic, the wonderful waterfall die set. This is the bouquet and banners. I think they're the only 2 dies I used in this video. They are. So that was all of the supply list that you needed in the way of dies. So with that said, I will go and enjoy a lovely warm day here in the UK, and I will see you the next time. Bye.